trust me, I know how you feel right now. Baby, that's just what it is right now.
So I like it. Anytime an artist starts a song where they leave themselves a lot of room to grow, I think that's a really smart idea. You don't, yeah. She's very speech level singing. It's very, very unaffected. If anything, we're getting a little bit of the vocal fry in the beginning, right, that little bit of thing to kind of communicate a little lackadaisicalness again. Probably very intentional to try and create some of that relaxed atmosphere. Soft palette is up mostly. Neo soul, we hear it down a lot.
The moment, trust me, I know how you feel right now. Baby, that's just what it is right now. Just stay with me, right behind you. And I'm trying to make the time to, baby, that's all I can give right now. Maybe that's just what it is right now.
Really impressive cohesion from the band. This is interesting rhythmically what's going on. This is like some 16th notes, pretty fast notes, and they're all in crazy time with one another. And it's small things like that. You know, I once heard a person say, like, you think you're good until you really study an eighth note, or you think you're good until you really study a quarter note. What that person was trying to say was, like, the simple things, you think you understand them, but you don't. Like, you can always get better at these very, very basic fundamental things in music.
Now, maybe that's just what it is right now. I've been focused, just stay with me in the moment.
Again, I'm incredibly impressed at the collective. And I stop right as she goes into a run. Her runs have been great, but they've also been in time. The rhythm, this group is like in sync with each other.
That's what it is right now. Stay with me, I'm trying to make the time to, baby, that's all I.
And this is something that I see people when they're doing their runs. I highly recommend doing like a cappella recordings, even in Audacity. There are a ton of looper apps you can use on your phone. Your sense of rhythm is incredibly, incredibly, incredibly important. I'm so unimpressed by just the ability to do runs, primarily because they've always come easy to me. But what I am impressed by is the fact that her runs are insanely in time. Right? It's so easy to be like, I'm doing a run. I can, this is impressive inherently. No, it's not. It really isn't. Runs are impressive to people who don't know how to do them. If you want to be truly impressive, this is impressive. That's in time. That's incredibly in time, and it's phrased. Okay? Like, there's dynamics to that run. Let's take it again. Right? So there's dynamics there. There's an arc. There's a phrase, a musical phrase was expressed right there. So when you practice your runs, I don't care how many notes you can fit into a short period of time. This is not like a musical pissing contest. Like, sorry to be dramatic about this. I get so bored with it. People coming to me working on their runs, they want to know how to fit more notes in a tiny space. Who cares? Who cares? No one. No one cares. Like, singers that can't do it care. It's a very small percentage of people listening to music that actually care. What's impressive here is the musicianship.
Oh yeah, sorry you didn't.
Like, these are arpeggios that are in tune. This is harder than you might think. An arpeggio is basically when you take a chord, right? It's a major chord. And you melodically sing the chord, right? Do 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 do. Right. So she's doing that, but she's also doing it with the pianist. Listen again how accurate she is.
Sorry you didn't get a chance to feel me yet.
Like, rhythmically, there's a lot going on here. Right? There's like triplets and stuff, and then she throws in some 16th notes. Here's one thing that happened. I listened to a student recently, and there's a lot. So SZA and her, you get a lot of this. This is going to sound weird. Watch her tongue. In a lot of, like with her and SZA and a lot of people, they're keeping their soft palate down to kind of round the tone, but their tongue is incredibly wide. It's incredibly wide, and that's why she's doing these arpeggios, and she's incredibly on pitch. Because if your tongue goes narrow and backwards, you're putting pressure on the larynx. It's going to drive your pitch flat. Pitch is almost always a matter of technique, almost always. So watch her tongue. I know that sounds weird, but just watch it. What she's doing is she's keeping a wide tongue, and then she's doing this. So her soft, there we go. Her soft palate is down, but her tongue is wide. And so when we want to do this, we have a wide tongue if the soft palate is down, right, or whatever. Forward and wide. But she's drooping her soft palate a little bit. So there's a lot of moving parts in singing. I highly recommend to take the time to isolate these things. An NG, when you sing, that'll tell you where your tongue is. Right? Your tongue is on the roof of your mouth. You can feel where your tongue is in all reality when you do that. And then if we droop our soft palate, dramatic sound change. So, and then she'll do it when she's already done it a couple times where she's on the apex of the phrase, whether it's a run or not. She'll brighten and lift the soft palate. How do you get control over these things? You practice them in isolation and then put them together. I will have some shorts on this very thing. If you are interested in that technique, I'll expand upon that in the shorts.
My band, Dream Come True, like I said, we're gonna play a couple songs for y'all.
She's super relaxed on stage. Like, she probably knew that this was going to get placed right on Tiny Desk, right? Like, you don't, if you're her, if you're at this level of fame and ability, you're not doing this, you know what I mean? You're doing it because you know you're going to get placed. This level of comfort with this many eyeballs on you takes time. Highly encourage you to put yourself out there continuously. Whether it be on the Discord where I can help you learn to sing for free, that's linked to that down below. Whether it be you on TikTok, you on Instagram, you on Twitter, whatever, you on YouTube, you have to put yourself out there and get comfortable with the camera and the lights on you. You have to put yourself out there and be comfortable with people, you know? That just takes practice. That confidence is earned.
You're still mad at me. It's not that deep. We've been here before.
So, rhythmic breathing in time. I'm sure people did it before Michael Jackson, but Michael Jackson, oh boy, did he make that popular. I think it's always worth playing with and trying with and experimenting with it on the occasion, because I think it can be really cool. I think that was really cool what you just did.
Made me feel away, yeah. Don't make me feel away. Don't make me feel.
This is hard. Like, I think to appreciate what the backup singers are doing here, like, literally try to harmonize with yourself and do it like, so she's very close to the mic. If we actually get a shot of that, I'll go right back to this. But like, she's way closer to the mic position-wise than their backup singers are. Very intentional, right? So there's something called a proximity effect, and I don't need to get into the physics of it. Just listen to how much more bass there is right now, right? And I have a cut filter on this, so you're not getting nearly as much bass as you would have otherwise. Whereas I'm back here, and you're getting almost no bass. So this mic positioning is very intentional from the sound engineer. And that allows when these singers want to sing very softly, her is in her low range, and they're going above her in range, but then they're also brightening the vowels here. And you see this all the time with Chloe and Holly. Probably they're the best example of how to do this because they're sick at it. Like, they're so good at it. But these backup singers are doing that. They're brightening the vowels. They're away from the microphone. And listen to these harmonies. They're incredibly precise. They're simple, but they're very precise.
Don't make me feel away. Don't make me feel
right?
away.
Like, that sounds easy, but it's not. Like, go record yourself and try doing it that tightly and while being in time and all that. It's very hard. And they make it look easy. It's not.
Fault, I play my part. Don't start that talk like you ain't plan to stay. Oh.
I think every singer should learn either rap or beatboxing. You should work on your rhythm explicitly and exclusively and dedicate time to that, because Like right now she's singing, so she's like sing rapping, right? And it's effective and it works, right? And you'd have a really hard time doing this in a convincing way if you don't feel the rhythm.
Oh, I hate when you do that shit. Oh, please stop.
Like, come on now. That's so sick. Come on. Just hold on, wait, hold on. Watch how the band drops in and out like that. Like so cool.
Plan to stay. Oh, I hate
Come
when
on.
you do that shit. Oh,
And again.
tell me I'm being a rash. No, I'm not dealing with you all.
Like, singers, you are musicians. You are musicians. And if you have to have a musician that's a pianist or whatever carry your musicianship on their back, you're literally weighing down the quality of the music with your lack of ability. And it's inexcusable if you want to be a professional. This is professional singing. And all of this stuff sounds easy until you try it yourself and you realize how bad you are at it. I'm serious. Like, go record yourself trying to beatbox and then rap on top of your beatboxing, and just you're gonna listen to how off time it is if you haven't practiced it deliberately. And the singers, the backup singers and her are in time with the runs while harmonizing. Basic musicianship concepts here. Nothing sophisticated from a music theory point of view, but it's so hard to execute as crisp as this. So one of the things I hear often when people try to imitate this style, is that they take too little of an inhale. Interestingly enough, my problem is the opposite. I always take too much of an inhale. Her is incredibly relaxed here. The torso is incredibly relaxed here. She's not trying to be quiet. She's in the lower part of her range, and she's just taking kind of a normal inhale and then just letting it out. And as a result, her tone isn't breathy. Because her torso is relaxed, she's getting a lovely full sound. Here's the difference, okay? If I take a small inhale, don't let me down, yeah. That sounds a little light, right? And unconvincing, I think, for what her is trying to put out there. But listen to when I take a deeper inhale. Don't let me out there, right? Like, the difference is profound. If you don't have a relaxed torso, you're not going to be able to take a deep inhale, because literally when you inhale, the entirety of the torso expands all the way down into the muscles around your hips, okay? So I won't get into the anatomy of why that is. If you're interested, I have a video on that in the channel, but this is really, really important. And the primary thing that happens when you take a deeper inhale is your larynx will naturally lower. So you don't want to take too big of an inhale. This is an opera where inhales are like huge and massive. But you do want this lowered larynx a little bit gently by just taking a casual, relaxed torso. Nice inhale like that, right? And then you also want your false folds retracted, but let's one thing at a time, right? Okay, two things going on here. Interesting. I said we talk about the false folds. Perfect opportunity to do that. So, that's little bit of strain there. Very intentional, right? I think. Comes from the false folds being together. You want to know how to take move your false folds apart, get like a cup of coffee, something you enjoy smelling, and take that nice inhale, and then you start getting a "in a world, one man," right? Like, that's the voice right there. That's the folds, false folds being apart, little pieces of cartilage on top of the real folds, right? But then when you go up and up and up, right, you can put them together a little bit for that little bit of grit. So you need to, again, going back to singers need to learn all of their individual moving parts, right? Like, you should be able to retract your false folds and put them together intentionally, and just, there's a range of motion here, right? This is not an on-off switch. This is a slider, right? And you want to be able to do that if you want to be able to do what her is doing right here, which is this smooth, relaxed lower register. Don't make me feel away. A little bit of grit added on the top. Away. Right into falsetto. Right? Which requires this to be retracted if you want it to sound as easy and elegant as that. Which is to say that sounds really good. And you can hear the backup singer doing it too, right? I think people have this weird concept where they think that like people who make it because they're that good. I've met a lot of really, really, really amazing singers. I think artistry, your ability to communicate with other people, that's really the biggest determining factor in whether or not you're successful, I think, as an artist. Like her she's great at communicating the artistry, but as far as singing chops go and singing technique, like there are tons of really great singers out there. And if you ever want to be like on one hand motivated and on the other hand completely and utterly discouraged, like always listen to the backup singers because they're almost always incredible singers, especially when they're working for someone like her or someone of this kind of like fame and notoriety. That's so cool. That's so cool. She's singing along with the guitar lick. I love it. It's like, it's not enough that she gets a guitar solo. She does it with the vocal solo. Come on now. That's too good. Okay, so people, I don't want to ever hear that you can't find a way to practice your skills ever again. If you're watching this video right now and you think scales are boring and you don't want to practice your scales, listen to this and feel the shame that you should have right now if you've ever said, I don't want to practice my scales. Listen to her practicing literal scales while she's playing it on the guitar and sounding better than almost any of us at our best, right? Like better than 99.9999999% of all of us, right? She's playing scales, she's playing licks, and she's singing along to them, sounding better than you, right? I don't want to hear you don't want to practice your scales. That's really good. And again, it's subtle, right? Like, that doesn't sound fancy. But go try and do that yourself, and you're going to mess it up. A little Picardy third at the end. Okay. So so the more I listen to, I guess this would be neo soul and R&B. I'm not sure if the two are delineated or separate. But the more I listen to what people are suggesting and throwing my way, the more I'm hearing this. So there's music can be split up into 4 categories. We got melody, harmony, timbre, the sound, and rhythm. Okay. Now, one of the most sophisticated things you can do to progress music forward and give it like forward momentum is what's called counterpoint, which is when melody becomes harmony. Okay, and it's generally pretty sophisticated stuff. It's pretty easy to mess up. When I was doing a theory analysis of Cool People from Chloe and Halle, there's a really cool moment where Halle is using a little bit of a riff to modulate and do a little mode mixture. Really sophisticated musicianship stuff. And again, sort of the theme I'm getting from her here is that this is simple musicianship concepts. We're just kind of doing basic chords between 3 voices, but we're then adding these melodies in each individual voice to move the music forward, right? This is not chord, 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 chord. This is melody that happens to be chord. That's a little bit further back. You could pick out each individual singer there has their own melody, and then they're making harmony on top of the melodies. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. It's hard to do. They're incredibly precise with it. Again, this is one of those things where if you don't know what you're listening for, this doesn't sound that impressive, but then you go try and do it yourself and you suck. like same here, by the way. Like, I need to practice this more. This is really cool. Because that's the only way you get this good as a musician. Vocal technique in isolation is cool, but it's not, it can't be the only thing you do. Because eventually you want to sing music, right? And not just runs. right? I'm hoping that's the answer to that, right? If you're listening to this and you're a singer. Yeah, this is really impressive stuff. Because it's all subtle, it's all tasteful, and it's not broadcasted in a big way, but it's incredibly impressive. Yeah, super props. I'm gonna have to pause it here because I'm going live. And yeah, I can't wait to listen to the rest of this. This is nutty.